So this is our final little section of the last few stanzas of Isabella. Hopefully you found this really useful and you've got loads of ideas so far about what quotes to use or what moments in the story are important. Hopefully you can see as well that there's some stanzas where Keats is just kind of rambling on and you don't really need to look at those in detail. So it should kind of narrow down the amount of work that you have to do or what to focus on, because you can see that not every stanza is that significant to the story. Some of it is him just banging on about tragedy or invoking a muse or that kind of thing. So we're going to just look at the ending now, and this is kind of the resolution, the final wrapping up of the end of the story. So you might want to think about, how is it resolved? How are all the different loose ends tied together? What happens to the characters, and what are the overall lasting messages? The messages are something that you need for good analysis in essays or exams. So if you can understand the whole point or the meaning behind the story, then that's going to serve you really well when you're writing about it. So the brothers, they're watching Isabella. They can't just let her be. They can't just let her wither alone. They have to, like winter, speed up the process of her death. So they watch her and they notice she doesn't really go to church or get hungry or sleep. She's patient as a hen bird, and she sits next to her basil weeping through her hair. And so they contrived to steal the basil pot. Quite a good quote to talk about plot there. They found it, they examined it in a secret place, and the thing was vile and green and livid spot, but they could still tell it was Lorenzo. Very gross. Probably the worst image, where they uncover this head after it's half rotted. Medieval tradition really likes these types of like morbid images as well, so it's kind of in keeping with the sentiment of that time. They realized that they received a fair reward for their murder. Someone knew that Lorenzo's been killed. Someone dug up Lorenzo's head as proof and then had it in a pot in the center of Florence. So they thought, it was over and done with. But actually, the evidence of their murder and their crime is right here in their own house. So they left Florence in a moment's space, never to turn again, which is really important to the message of the story. They leave Florence, they never come back again. They have blood upon their heads and they're banished. So they don't die, but they are ruined. Their whole life is ruined. They can't live in their city anymore. They probably leave a lot of their wealth behind when they run away. So it's a little bit quick, which suggests it's slightly, you might find it a little bit uncompelling, like it's unbelievable that they suddenly see this head and they run away. I find it a little bit unbelievable, but you can see that the mechanism works quite well. They realize that everyone knows, or at least Isabella knows about Lorenzo, and they assume everyone else does as well. They're terrified for their own lives, and so they run away. So another one of these long stanzas invoking ancient Greek stuff. The main thing here is, Isabel, sweet Isabel, will die. She'll die a death too lone and incomplete, now they've taken away her basil sweet. So she looks pitiful. She looks sadly on dead and senseless things. She's asking amorously for her lost basil. There's also the amorous dart earlier. He likes that adjective. It means kind of consumed with love. And she now has a lorn voice. So earlier, Lorenzo has a lorn voice because he's a ghost, a spirit. Now her voice is the same. Lorn is forlorn, like lonely, lost. And so she's transitioning from a state of living into a state of death. She would often cry after a random pilgrim who was wandering around the city to ask, where is her basil? It's cruel, she said, to steal my basil pot away from me. She died and she pined, meaning she felt really bad and she was consumed with longing, and so she died forlorn, imploring to the last minute for her basil. So it became so obsessive and such a fixation that she didn't do anything else. She just kind of died because of her obsession of the basil. And everyone mourned in sadness for her because she was so beautiful, so full of life. so young, such a pure, good person, so destroyed by the evil brothers and the death of her lover. So this is now a sad ditty, a sad story that passes from mouth to mouth throughout the whole country of Italy, throughout everywhere. And the song is "O cruelty to steal my basil pot away from me." So the ending, she just kind of withers away. She very quietly passes, transitioning from a state of life into death through not eating, sleeping, or doing anything that a living person would do anymore. And so in death, it's sad because they're dead, but they are sort of reunited as well. So there's a sense of kind of an ambiguous ending there. And the good effect of it is that the brothers are banished from Florence. So I'm going to leave you with this little image, which I think encapsulates the sort of like gothic / humorous / morbid feeling and elements and tones of this poem. So in future lessons, we're going to go way more into depth with the meaning and the language and the structure and all that. But for this little set, I wanted to just give you a sort of detailed breakdown of what the story is about, what's going on in each stanza. Hopefully that's all really clear for you now, and you're ready to move on to the deeper meanings.